Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff, and today I am super excited because we're taking a look at one of my favorite new EDC knives ever. This is the Vosteed Nightshade, and I'm going to try and have this video out before 2022 is over. This will probably be the last review of 2022, but I want this out before I do like all my, favorite knives I looked at this year videos, because this is definitely a knife worth checking out. I probably spoiled the entire review by, giving you all the good stuff at the front, but stick around because, yeah, this knife is just fantastic. It really, really is. Okay, let's go ahead and start off with our blade length measurements, size comparisons, all that good stuff. Blade length is coming in here just a hair over 3¼ inches. We'll call it like 3.3 inches. So pretty good size. This is not a large knife by any means. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that by comparing it against our Rat 1 and our Rat 2. And as you can see here, lengthwise, it's almost identical to the Rat 1, but in a little bit of a weird way. This is not shaped like a conventional knife. Let's move all these down even further. It's got kind of an arc to it. And I know a lot of you have already seen reviews on this knife. I am hardly early on this. In fact, I'm pretty late to the party, but hey, that's kind of my brand. All right, let's get our Civivis out here. There's our Elementum, and there's our Big Daddy Praxis. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and grab our PM2, our bug out. Good deal, good deal. And lastly, let's compare against a Kaiser, since these are made by Kaiser. Here is my Kaiser Beglighter 2, and I've got it on the table right now, so here's the Civivi Baby Banter. I think those are enough size comparisons. Alrighty, materials on this guy. G10 steel clip, steel line lock with a 154 cm blade. Kind of a leaf shape, kukri-esque blade. I actually call this a spear point. I know that might seem a little bit weird, but if we put this ruler here, hopefully you guys can see that. It is completely symmetrical. The tip is in line with the pivot. I'm calling it a spear point. It has a little bit of a weird curve, mostly because of the mostly because of the handle. You guys have probably seen this in other videos where it was filthy and dirty. As you can see now, I have a nice, beautiful mirror edge on here. I've cleaned him up. He's nice and shiny. Actually, there's still some gunk on him because I am still using this guy, but yeah, excellent knife. Yeah, I first heard about this knife on Neve's Knives channel a long time ago, and I thought, oh, that's cool. That might be a fun knife for like in a garden. This might be a cool little, you can use it as a regular knife, but you can also grab it like this, do some cuts, maybe on stalks. You can grab it like this and cut some fruit off of vines, whatever you have. I was actually harvesting rhubarb at the time in the mountains with my grandfather, so I was thinking about agriculturally minded stuff like that. But let's go ahead and go to the cutting footage, and then we'll come back and get into the review of this amazing knife. I should have filmed this video a lot earlier today. It's about 4 o'clock. It's getting cold as balls. Hasn't snowed in a couple of days. It's been really clear, and that's always when it's the coldest. When it snows, you got that cloud cover, you get a little bit of relief. This morning, woke up and it was like -9 degrees. Right now, it's getting down to about 11. Can't feel my fingertips, but I gotta get this filming done because I haven't done cut footage yet for today's knife of interest, the Vosteed Nightshade. Really, really cool knife here. Very excited to be bringing you guys this cutting footage at last. I have had this knife for a while, and I've been using it and loving it. This knife is always dirty and just covered in gunk because it's a fantastic user. And you will see in the review, I just gush about this knife so much. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, let's start with the ergonomics. Kind of weird, you know, it's kind of bowed. But the ergos are great. This jimping, I wish it went out a little bit further, but great texture. Slightly contoured. Fits my hand really well, even though my hand is about to fall off from cold. Really, really great ergonomics. When I first saw this knife, like last year on the Neves Knives channel, my first thought was, that looks like it'd be a really great like garden knife. You know, you can grab it like this and, you know, do some cuts like that. And I did get to do some of that I did record. So I'll play that either here or later in the video if that's more convenient. Woo, it's a cold and blowy evening. Woo, but I found some roadside watermelon just growing here on the side of the road. And I thought this would actually be something kind of cool to show with the Vosteed Nightshade. Because when this knife was first announced, I thought, oh, that's going to be like a great knife to have in like a garden or something. Focus on the knife, not the gourds. And this is why. I'm just going to take this one here. The shape of this blade, the way the handle kind of arcs into it, you get in a reverse grip like this, and you're harvesting. I don't have my other hand right here, but you know, usually I'd be holding the melon right there. You go, you know, you're doing cuts like that. And now I have a watermelon to eat at some point. Okay, there. Maybe you know what? I'll just play it there. I'm the editor. I'm the editor of my videos. I get to decide what goes where and when. So enjoy that footage. So let's talk about the action. Great access to the lock bar. The action's very smooth. The flipper tab's a little bit weird. I'm not going to say this is the greatest flipper I've ever felt, but it's hard to fail. The jimping on flipper tab is really good, and it's a very satisfying action. So yeah, and as far as actions go, I'd say this is like an 8 out of 10. It's very good. This is a fantastic action. You can see how smooth it is on the close. That is frozen fingers. I mean, the fact that I'm flipping it this good with my frozen fingers is a miracle. But yeah, really, really great. How does it carry? Well, we have a single side clip. That's a negative. No lefty love. But it's a great clip. It's inset to the scales. The screws are flat. It's pretty much perfect. In the pocket, you can see it goes in really, really well. Comes out well. Goes in well. And comes out well. So, good deal there. Let's go ahead and get into our cutting. Full flat ground, 154 cm blade. This knife I did resharpen just because I never got a chance to do cutting footage before I used it till it was dull. But you know what? It's a fantastic user. So, as you guys will see. All right, let's grab us out ye old cardboard. It's a little bit frozen too. Woo! Like butter. Throw that there. Let's do a little bit of utility cutting. Because, yeah, this knife is pretty much all belly, but the way it's angled means that you can really get great utility cuts. Even if your hands don't work the way they should. Slicing, oh, all day, every day, man. The way this blade angles forward, you are always right there where your cut needs to be. You're trapping the material in with your blade. Oh. It works like a dream come true. I could do that all day. Maybe not right now, because, again, you guys are going to get tired of hearing this, but cold fingers. Man, that temperature is dropping fast. All right, let's go ahead and grab our rope. Ooh, excellent, excellent. I'm very curious to see how it'll do on this test, honestly. I'm not sure what this will be like. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, it did great. Oh, it did so well. Oh, man. This blade shape and the way it's angled is just one of the best things I've ever seen on an EDC knife. It's really fantastic. All right, let's get to the pool noodle. Full flat grind. We're fairly thin behind the edge. I haven't taken a measurement, but I don't really think we need to. This should speak for itself. Okay, I tried to go a little too thin there. Oh man, look at that. Look at how beautiful those are. Oh, and then yeah, that one was my fault. Really, really nice. Felt fantastic going through there. All right, let's get back to the table. Let's go warm my hands up. And I gotta go take a leak, but I'm gonna freeze off my dong. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? I am so sorry, guys. We gotta do this in every video. All right, back to the table. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into everything I like and don't like about this knife, starting with the likes. And actually, this is not going to be a segment dedicated to what I like about this knife. It's going to be a segment dedicated to what I love about this knife. First of all, I think it looks fantastic. There are so many knives nowadays that look just knifey. You know, the Benchmade Bug Out. I love the way this knife looks. I really do. I think this is a good-looking knife. But it's boring. I've seen this before. And even though it looks fantastic, it's boring. The Civivi Praxis. I love the way this knife looks. This is a sexy, sexy knife. But it's getting to be boring. You know, a lot of knives look like that. This knife is sexy, but minimalist and different. You know, it's unique and weird, but not outlandish. It's just, I really, really like the looks. I also like this gray G10 with the white pivot collar. I think that looks really, really nice. Everything about this knife just kind of appeals to me aesthetically. So this knife is based on the famous Shilin cutters, I believe is what they're called, which are a traditional Chinese or Taiwanese knife. Really gorgeous. I definitely recommend looking those up. I'll put like text on the screen or whatnot. And I love kind of a traditional or classic knife design being reimagined for the modern era. And that's definitely what this is. And they pulled it off really, really well. So yeah, I love that. This knife, it feels new and fresh, but there's a lot of history with it. There's a lot of, it's very classic. It's very, I don't know how to say it, but you know that kind of wholesome feeling of, you know, it's got that, when you pick up a case knife, a traditional slip joint, you feel that kind of connection with those who came before. I get a little bit of that from this knife here. So yeah, that's cool. Moving on with the looks, this blade finish is absolutely fantastic. And yes, excuse all the scuffs and smudges. I should have cleaned this up before I filmed the video, but I use this knife so much that every time I clean it, it just gets immediately dirty. But this stonewash here is one of my absolute favorites. You guys know that I love stonewashes, and this one is like super reflective, like, hi guys, look at my crappy phone that I film all my videos on. But beautiful, beautiful stonewash that's polished. It's gorgeous, especially on a knife that's inexpensive. I love to see that. Love it, absolutely love it. The blade itself too has a crown spine, which, I mean, these knives aren't very expensive, and this This makes it feel super premium. Really, really love that. Gorgeously crowned spine. The texture of the G10. This is something that I talk about a lot. A lot of G10 to me feels cheap when you can't see the fine grains like this, such as on that Civivi Praxis. If you look at him close up, see, like this just kind of looks cheap and meh. However, this to me looks classy and elegant, and it's pleasing. I love pivot collars, and these white G10 pivot collars are really cool. Just a neat touch. They didn't have to do that, but they did. I also like the look of the pivot pin. I love their logo, the horse head inside the horseshoe. That's just so cool. Especially, I mean, you guys know me. I do a little bit of cowboying and stuff myself, so that's nice. Branding is very minimal. Vosteed Nightshade, it says there. A lot of people don't like when companies put the name of a knife on the knife. I don't mind it because, you know, I like knives to be named, and I like the name of this knife here, the Nightshade, 154 cm. As you can see there, Nightshade. That's pretty cool, you know. I think that's a unique name. But yeah, love the way this knife looks. Really, really love the way this knife looks. All right, next thing. Access to the lock bar is fantastic. You can see here they milled that away perfectly. And let's talk about that action. Super snappy on the flip, and man, it just glides shut. Kaiser has been knocking it out of the park with actions, and I'm glad that they made these for Vosteed. Now, the flipper tab looks weird, and when I first saw this knife, I was like, no way that flips well. The flipper tab angled downwards beneath the pivot. It just looked a little bit goofy. I thought, you know, the angle's probably off. And like if you go for a light switch, it can feel a little bit weird. It works, but it does feel a bit weird. But if you just push button it, it is so snappy. The jimping on the flipper tab is done very, very well. It just fires out of there. So no complaints there. This action is absolutely fantastic. I also should probably mention that this is the Vosteed Nightshade Light with the LT, I think. They do have more premium versions. Oh, and also, I should thank Lefty EDC. He sent me this. He gave it to me. He said I could keep it if I liked it. And yeah, I love it. So thank you, Lefty. I really appreciate that. This is an absolutely wonderful knife. It's a joy to use. Next thing, I like the clip. This knife carries pretty well. As you can see here, the clip is completely recessed into the scale with flat screws, just the way I like it. I had doubts about the clip. I thought it would be a little bit difficult in and out of the pocket, but it's really not. I wouldn't say it's like the best. You can get caught up here, but it works in and out of the pocket. I'd give this an A- as far as clips go. So yeah, like it a whole lot. Fit and finish on this is fantastic. As you can see here, centered. It's built well. The lockup is good. That's always something that I'm a little bit worried on with Kaisers, just because of past experiences I've had where they don't lock up that great. They've got tons of lock stick. The lock just fails. But this one's been really good. This has been exactly what I've wanted. And yeah, really, really nice. Back to the clip for a little bit. It looks good, matches the rest of the knife, but it doesn't bother me in the hand. And let's talk about the ergonomics of this knife, because these ergonomics are fantastic. So it's kind of a pistol grip. You can see here the edges are all nicely knocked down. There's no hot spots really. I've got enough room on here for my hand. Slightly contoured, very slightly contoured. Just feels really, really good. If I really bear down, I guess I can feel that part of the clip just a little bit, but really, really not that bad. I can't really talk about the rest of ergonomics without talking about the blade, so let's go ahead and talk about the blade. Full flat grind, beautiful, beautiful. I love to see that. Comes down to a deliciously thin edge. I will take a full flat grind on a broad blade like this before I take a hollow grind on a narrow blade like this. Don't get me wrong, I love hollow grinds. I really do. A nice deep hollow grind is a beautiful, beautiful thing. But for an all-purpose EDC knife, I prefer a full flat like this because this slices amazingly. You pass the materials without having to worry about getting over a hump from the grind to the flat. With this broad blade, it just separates material so nicely. We still have an edge that's thin enough to do all the delicate type tasks. But at the same time, with that flat grind, it's a little bit more robust. It's not as, I don't want to use the word fragile, but it's not as susceptible to damage. 154 cm is a great steel, especially at this price point. I really love it. No complaints there. And the shape of this blade works with the ergonomics so well. As you can see here, we talked earlier, the blade is kind of a fat spear point. But with these ergonomics, the way the handle curves, it points that blade down. So the tip, if you're thrusting, if you're piercing something, works really, really well. You can get to your utility cuts very well. You can do long slices. If you're cutting into something, the way this angles down just glides you through the material. If you're cutting a rope, it keeps the material in on the edge. There is just, this nice big belly, crunch down on zip ties. I have used this for everything, and it is good for everything. I can say 100% that this is good for everything, for every knife task. I mean, unless maybe, you're batoning or something, which I have been guilty of doing with knives, but that's not what I'd use this knife for. As far as a general purpose EDC knife goes, this is probably the best of the best. I can't believe I'm saying that. That's kind of a broad statement to make, and you gotta be a little bit careful when making broad statements. But I do believe that this knife is just a fantastic user, probably one of the best I've ever handled. As far as just a straightforward pocket knife goes, this is among the best of the best, and it has absolutely blown me away. I could probably, if I ever decided that I was done being a knife reviewer and a knife collector, and I just wanted to get rid of everything and just keep, the knives I need to get through my day, this would be one of the ones I keep. This would be what I would keep as an EDC knife, and then, I'd probably keep a hard use knife, a fixed blade. But yeah, this would definitely be a knife that I would keep. It's really, really good. Okay. What else is there to talk about? I mean, been talking for 12 minutes at this point about this knife. It's just, there's a lot I love here. The weight is right. I don't usually talk about weight that much because, I don't know, I'm not usually bothered by something unless it's a literal brick. But, I don't know, everything about this knife, everything comes together so well in this design. I feel like everything flows into the next aspect. The handle flows into the blade finish flows into the crown spine. That's one thing I can talk about here. The jimping, I love this texture. Wish it came out just a hair further, but I mean, it works good where it's at. Great texturing. Kaiser really knows how to do jimping. It's really nice. Jimping on flipper tab we talked about is really good. Oh, the sharpening choil is done really well. I can't remember if I already mentioned that or not. I meant to mention it with the blade, but I don't think I did. So, yeah, excellent sharpening choil. This is just a knife that's built to be used for a long time. And I love that. I really do love that. There are a lot of knives that I love for reasons other than utility, but at my core, my love for knives comes from their ability to be used. It comes from the bond that I make with the pocket knife. It's in my pocket all the time. It goes with me throughout my daily life. And, whatever I go through, it goes through, And I find so much joy in knowing that the knife I have in my pocket is ready to go for anything that the day can throw at me. And, just the satisfaction of being faced with a task, pulling your knife out, completing the task, and putting it back in your pocket. I don't know, it's something very abstract, but it's incredibly satisfying and rewarding. And this knife definitely gives me those kind of vibes. And I know this review is this review is derailing, but you know, stay with me. Let's go ahead and talk about what I don't like. I mean, maybe they could have brought the jimping out just a hair further, but I mean, it does work right here. Actually, it works really well. I mean, I would have liked just a hair more. I wish the clip was reversible. You know, I wish lefties could enjoy this knife as much as the rest of us. But really, that's about it. That's about all the complaints I have. Let's talk about my final conclusions. The price on these guys is right. These come in about $65 to $70. That's absolutely an okay price for these knives. I would definitely pay that. That's fantastic. The build quality, the performance is all there. I didn't mention it, but we do have an internal. Is an internal or an external stop pin? Is it connected to the blade? It's connected to the blade, so it's technically an external stop pin, but non-visible stop pin. Lockup is rock solid. This knife just works and keeps working. This is one of my favorite knives I've reviewed this year. In fact, it might be my favorite. And it's definitely my favorite just user EDC knife. I will say it was very hard to carry anything else after I got this knife. And I have recently, in the last couple of weeks, I actually took this knife and I put it in a knife pouch, and I closed that pouch and I hid it away so I wouldn't carry this knife. So I had some time to carry some of the other knives I've been working on reviewing. But yeah, I can tell you this knife is going right back in my pocket as soon as I turn this video off. I love this knife. I can recommend it 100%. There's very little wrong with this knife. If you're looking for a fantastic user knife, this is it. I saw some, I think they were limited editions around Halloween where instead of the flipper tab, they had a hole opening. I would be incredibly interested in getting my hands on one of those. In fact, I'm probably going to be looking for one because without this flipper tab there, you could choke up, and I think that'd make the knife even better. In fact, maybe we'll add that to my complaint. You know, if only I could choke up that close. But yeah, there's nothing else to say, and I'm gonna stop right here. Definitely go and get yourself one of these if you don't have one already. This is one of the best EDC knives on the market right now. And I'm so glad it's under $100. Of course, if you're bougie, you can spend a little bit more, get a fancier version with M390 and stuff, but honestly, this is the one that I would always go for. It looks classy. It feels classy. It's a quality made knife. It's beautiful and elegant, but also just hardworking and durable. I think I'm in love, guys. I think I'm in love. Oh, it can also do this. So, you know, that's cool. But yeah, absolutely gets a recommendation from me. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I've been Gideon. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.